This first one here on this memorable episode was sent to cornydrivethrue@gmail.com from Joel in San Marcos, Texas. Hello, Jim and Brian.
Hello!
Michael Cole was recently on Pat McAfee's podcast and said that when he's asked about his job with WWE and how he's been there for 25 years, he says he's an actor. His quote, "I've told people that I am a fake announcer for a scripted sport that uses a fake name." My question for Jim is, do you think that his answer was influenced by Kevin Dunn or anyone else in the offices of WWE?
Well, yes, and let me say this. I've worked with Michael Cole. I was there when he first started. I like the guy. I've never had any arguments with him. The fact that he said that, I would normally say he's a piece of shit, and I probably won't ever speak to him again if the opportunity arises just because he said that. But yes, he got that from Kevin Dunn because that's what Kevin Dunn thinks. Kevin Dunn doesn't like wrestling. He doesn't like the wrestling fans. He doesn't like wrestlers. And he goes out of his way to try to tell people to say things like that or to believe things like that. I don't know whether Michael Cole believes it, but I know that he says it because he's heard shit like that from Kevin Dunn, and Michael Cole was Kevin Dunn's boy because he was not a wrestling person. So Kevin naturally liked him. So I hate to hear that somebody that I've never had a big issue with personally has to say bullshit like that, but that's indicative of the fucking prick that Kevin Dunn is and the way he teaches. You would get people, editors at the studio and production assistants that would talk about the business that they were in the same way because they learn bad habits and misinformation from the top, just like the Trump administration. You would hear people parroting the bullshit that came out of his mouth that worked for him. Whether they believed it or not, they knew they had to say it. But with Kevin Dunn's the same thing. It's not wrestling. We don't do wrestling. And there's nothing wrong with telling people that it's all a work and it's fake. And there's nothing wrong with the word fake. Because Kevin Dunn's not a man. He's never been in a fight in his life. He has no guts. He has no balls. He's a suck-up sycophant that's fucking blown Vince for 40 years to keep a fucking job that he's obviously never wanted to begin with, but he just took it to make money. He didn't want to be in the wrestling business, and he's been trying to get out of it for 40 years to become a major Hollywood producer and win Emmys. Fuck Kevin Dunn. And honestly, Michael, if you hear this, I'm sorry to have to say it, but fuck you too for being a piece of shit and knocking the business that you've been making a very good living at for 25 years. Fuck all of you. How's that? Did we finish up good there? Fuck you, Michael, and fuck you, Dunn, again, you Bucky Beaver piece of shit. Now you got me in a bad mood.
You know, you weren't even that mad about him 2 minutes ago, and then I think Kevin Dunn.
Where I think about it.
Yeah.
Where I think about it. And that's, again, that's why the wrestlers think they're actors and entertainers, because they're told that. And some of them are egotistical enough to believe it. And that's why the business that has made every single one of those sorry sacks of shit motherfuckers working for the WWE, whether in front of the camera or behind the camera, a very good living, they will pass up no opportunity, say the most egregiously rotten, horrible things about their own line of work that they possibly can, just to make themselves look good in front of people who don't like wrestling, when they don't know that that you exist to begin with. The only thing that you do when you knock the wrestling business is to make yourself appeal to people who don't like wrestling, and they ain't going to watch you anyway. It's just because Kevin Dunn has that problem with his small penis and his fucking large ego, and that he can't be involved in something so common and ordinary as wrestling. He's a big-time TV person. And he tries to make the people that work for him think the same way. That's why there were some people that would get jobs in the studio that were actually wrestling fans. And they would slip under the radar and get the job. And then Kevin would eliminate or subliminate or move them around or whatever once he found out about it. Because he didn't want anybody that liked the actual wrestling business working in the fucking studio. He just wanted this fucking the people who would buy his bullshit about it being sports entertainment and nothing to do with wrestling, and that you shouldn't have any respect for it, or you shouldn't protect his secrets, or you shouldn't kayfabe. It was a whole fucking. We were at 1241 East Main Street trying to run a wrestling company, and he was over at 120 Hamilton Avenue trying to be a Hollywood superstar and telling everybody that wrestling sucked. Fuck him.
I have friends who worked in that building, not on the wrestling side, but on the business side. And almost to a man, everyone found him repulsive. But one of my friends told me a story, and I don't think he was unique in this happening to him, because I think I heard it from someone else too, but it happened firsthand to my friend. In the middle of a meeting he had to have with Kevin, Kevin took off his shoes and socks and started cutting his toenails at his desk. Yeah, for real.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like the person who told me has never ever told me a lie, and I've known him for a very, very long time. There's no way this would be the one thing he lied about. Kevin Dunn started cutting his toenails in the middle of a meeting.
And boy, just the fact that, I mean, using those hedge trimmers, that would be distracting when you're trying to have a conversation. Have you ever seen that fucking little beaver-looking motherfucker's big feet?
I've never seen his big feet. I don't think I've really been around Kevin Dunn much in person. Maybe when I was younger, but...
Well, you're lucky.
Yeah.
As Mama Cornette would say, with those big chompers, he could eat a watermelon through a rail fence.